Hi everyone, this is Sayanti bringing you another episode of Sayanti Finance. Today's episode is super special to me because I am doing the last Zodiac themed painting. Since July, I have been doing these Zodiac themed paintings, and today's one is the one for Gemini, which is the Zodiac sign for the month of June. And with that, I am finishing all the 12 Zodiac signs. Currently what you're seeing me do is paint sketch the face out. I will be working with watercolor as the base tone, and I'm working on cold press watercolor paper. However, all the materials that I will use and everything, even accessories that I'm using, are all listed in a video description below so that you can check that out. And then I will be following it up with oil pastels. So a little background to this painting. It was in July that I did my first Zodiac themed painting, and this one is the one that is Cancer. Was the very first one because July is my birth month, so I started with Cancer, and then I followed with each and every Zodiac sign in the next months, and this is the last one. So if you missed out that series, do check it out. I have put in each and every video in the video description below, and I will also link the playlist at the top. Anyways, onto the painting. I'm first putting a very base layer of a flesh tone, and for flesh tones I always mix some kind of red, some kind of yellow, a little bit of brown, any kind of brown that for that matter. I used probably burnt sienna in this case, and some amount of white to it, and then put the base layer. You can see that I'm only painting one side of the face with that flesh tint, because the other side of the face will be kind of blackish, blue black colored. I'm kind of taking the yin and yang, yin and yang principle from Chinese theory, and painting that for Gemini. Instead of the usual two women process, I'm just depicting the two sides of the character in the same face with that yin and yang principle from China. I'm sorry, it was a big tongue twister for me. For some reason, I was not able to say that clearly, and I think I'll try that again. Anyways, onto the painting. Now you can see me doing the other side of the painting, and this watercolor layer is not really mandatory for doing oil pastels, but I like to do it because it kind of gives me a map of where to put what color, and gets rid of the white of the paper. So I'm not fighting with the white of the paper and trying to push in pigments to cover the white of the paper. When I start putting in the oil pastels, the white is already covered and taken care of, and I know exactly where to go with what color. And if I'm not happy with the existing layer of watercolor, if I'm not happy with the colors, I have the room to change when I'm doing the oil pastel layer. And I'm doing some details in the eyeball area or iris area with the watercolor, although this is totally not necessary and completely going to be covered when I am going to do my oil pastels, but I just wanted to do it. Now I'm starting with my oil pastels. I put in a little bit of pink first in the entire left hand side area. You can see that I'm working on one section at a time. After the pink, I added some flesh tint on the same area. Now I'm adding a reddish brown color, and I'm working with Holbein oil pastels, by the way. Once again, they're all listed in the video description below with links to purchase them as well. And if you want to buy through those links, that would be awesome for me. If you're not, that's totally fine too. Anyways, and then I'm adding some browns as well for the shadow areas. Once I have put in enough pigment of all of the colors that I mentioned, then I'm going to use a clay shaper tool, and this comes out of a set also linked in the video description below. And this clay shaper tool is going with that I'm going to push the pigments into the paper as much as possible so that every nook and cranny is covered, as well as you get an understanding of how much more pigment is necessary, how much light and dark you want to go from there, and also you get a very, very smooth layer without adding any solvents. However, if you want to use solvents, feel free to do so. I don't think there is any right or wrong way to do art or do oil pastels or any medium whatsoever. Whatever is more convenient for you and whatever is archival as well is the way to go. So go ahead and try your different ways of blending, and whatever is the way that you like most, stick to it. Or even experiment, like, because I always like to experiment. I use solvents a lot, and I work without solvents as well. So, and I like to try new things. I like to rework on, like, time to time make a change. So whatever your heart pleases is what you should do when it comes to art. So onto the mouth area, I'm putting very dark tones of red and magenta for the lips first, and then I'm going to push the dark pigments into it first, and then I'll come back with lighter orange and flesh tones and even a little bit of white for the highlights. But first I need to put in the darker tones, push them inside into the crevices of the paper with my pastel or clay shaper rather. And then once it is pushed through, then I can add the highlights on top of it. These smaller areas, you have to be a tiny bit more careful than the larger areas for that matter, because this is where oil pastels get tricky with the details. But with that, I'm not saying that it cannot be done. It can very much be done. Oil pastels are a very versatile tool. There are many ways to get very fine details. If you are interested, I have a video showing 8 different ways to get fine details with oil pastels, so check that out if you're interested. Anyways, onto the neck area. I'm first putting in the darker tones, so lots of browns and even a little bit of reddish brown or dark Van Dyke brown and burnt sienna. I'm using all of those colors first, and then I will come back. I'm coming back with the flesh tone on top of all of those, and then again using that clay shaper tool to push all of that pigments into the nooks and crannies of the paper and smooth everything out. Adding some more pigments here and there as and where necessary. Then I'm starting on with the blue. So first onto the eyes. Obviously the light and dark has to be put in carefully and then pushed in with the clay shaper tool, and then the details fix. Once again, these smaller areas are a little bit tricky, so take your time with them. If it is too hard for you to do these small details with pastels itself, then go ahead and use a paintbrush and some solvent, or you can use an oil-based pencil like polychromos as well. Those work fine too. For the eyelashes, I used kind of blue and then went over with black, so that I have a blue-black color. Since in this painting I would be using a lot of kind of blackish tones, I made it all blue-black because black itself is a very flat color and it can dull out your painting if you do not have other colors mixed with it. So either you have to glaze other colors on the top, or you have to use other colors mixed with it. In this case, I chose blue with my black. So you can see that after I put in a base layer of black, I'm coming back with lighter shades of blue. So first a dark shade of blue, then black, then lighter shade of blue, and then that is how I am kind of putting in the darks and lights. Same with the background and surrounding areas, putting in a very dark shade of blue first, and then coming back with some blacks in some areas. I'm using 2 or 3 different shades of blues, 2 or 3 darker shades, 1 lighter shade, kind of like the sky colored blue. And then around the face on the left hand side, I'm going and making a little bit of kind of a haze with the blue color, and then blending it out, stretching it out here and there, kind of creating like a luminous mix and mash. Like, I can't say exactly in words what I'm trying to do here, but you can see what the look that I'm going for. Lastly and finally, I'm pushing all the pigments into the paper with that clay shaper tool. And with that is all about this painting. Do check out all the other paintings of the series if you have missed them out, and let me know what you think about this one. Thank you for watching.